The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing games are missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, guys, once again we're back, and it's exceptional. It's great to be seen once again on live. It's great to be alive. It's great to be back in the friendly confines of the fight capital of the world. Yes, that's right. I am in fact in Las Vegas, Nevada. So look, I don't really have no plans for this live. I don't got no talking points. I don't got no fancy thumbnail. I'm just gonna sit here and give you that real, raw, and rugged, world class boxing talk, and I'll let y'all steer the conversation. But do me a favor, guys. But before we even get into any of the boxing talk, before I even get into like any of your comments down below, let me just remind you guys to smash the like button so the video gets pushed out, the live gets pushed out to any and everybody out there on the YouTube, because they need to hear this. All right, they're trying to suppress the truth. They're trying to keep the real YouTube channels down, and I'm not gonna hate on nobody else, but y'all know when it comes to this boxing talk, there's very few, if any, that are True School Sports, and that's why a lot of you guys keep coming back. That's why 10.5 years still going strong, and we've been to South Florida, where we're from, to New York City, to here in Vegas, to LA, to Nicaragua, to Japan, to you know the resume. I don't gotta recite it all for you, but let's get into it, man. Let's go ahead and acknowledge the fine folks that are already here, making their presence felt. Please, guys, I don't have anything planned out, so this is actually one of the few lives where you can ask things that aren't boxing related. Cause I'm going to be here for probably 90 minutes to 2 hours. You guys know once I get talking, time just flies by. So ask whatever you want for the 80 of you guys here, and definitely feel free to super chat and subscribe and all that good stuff. But anyway, shout out to my guy right here. Buongiorno. Shout out to you, champ. Okay. Mooney's Gambo says Andy Hiraoka just got his visa and is taking off tomorrow. Good thing the fight is still on. Yeah, I've been following that whole story a little bit. I'm very frustrated. I was getting very frustrated that fight wasn't gonna happen, because really and truthfully, like Andy Hiraoka versus Gary Anturosso, for me, it's the fight on the card. Like there's good fights. You got Hitchens Duarte, you got Frank Martin, Nahir Albright, which I think is also a very good fight. But for me, I like that fight the most because Gary Anturosso, I feel like he has some things to prove in the 140 division. Andy Hiraoka is very good, but he's been very good over there in Japan. Can he do it against an American champion like Russell? I'm looking forward to that, because I feel like when it comes to Japanese boxing, when it comes to Japanese fighters, you guys know True School Sports, the number one source for Japanese boxing in America. He's probably one of the most, if not the most, under-promoted Japanese fighter in the whole fight game. And he really shouldn't be, because he's in a division with a lot of names, so you would think that Mr. Honda and Ohashi and the powers that be would be extra aggressive in promoting him, but no, they aren't. And, we all have our theories as to why. I personally feel like it's because he's not fully Japanese. He's half African, so that could be it. But anyway, shout out to Andy Hiraoka. Hoops Convo asked a very good question. He says, BT, what is your favorite food? That's a good question. I have a lot of favorite foods. So I'll say, if I'm in Japan, one of my favorite foods is udon noodles. I love udon noodles. I like pizza. I like burgers. There's all kinds of great food out there in the world. I like, I'll tell you guys this. When I was in New Mexico for camp, there's a place called Frontier, and they got a burger called the Frontier Burger. And it's very, very affordable, and it's very good, and it has a lot of flavors. So there's a lot of great food out there. But I'll say, if I gotta pick just one food in the whole world, if there was one food that your boy BT couldn't live without, believe it or not, and people may be surprised about this, but I'm gonna stick with my roots. I'm gonna say white rice and black beans. On some like real deal Puerto Rican and Dominican shit, because that's what I grew up on. Like my grandma, growing up, that's all that was the only option: white rice and black beans. With a little Goya seasoning, all that stuff. So yeah, I'll go with that. But there's many great foods out there in the world. Barrios or Garcia? It's a tough one. I don't really trust Ryan, because Ryan don't take nothing serious. I don't trust Mario, because Mario really just, let's be real, he's not to that level. So what I'll say is if Ryan Garcia is even at 75%, he beats Mario Barrios. I think he beats Mario Barrios. But I don't trust him. I don't trust Ryan Garcia. So we'll have to see how it plays out. My man Bonjour says, are you going to Tokyo for the Inoue in Junto when the Inoue has announced that now that the deal is gone and it's in May? That's a great question, man. I'll tell you this. Now, you guys know I love Naoya Inoue. I love Nakatani. I love Japanese boxing. I love Japan. Everyone knows how much I love Japan. But I'm not going to really know what I'm doing as far as that's concerned until I know when the IBF featherweight champion is fighting. That's Angelo Leo. When I know when he's fighting, then I could give you an answer. But I'll just say it like this: if the fight conflicts with Angelo Leo's upcoming fight against Rai Salim, then I will not be going to Japan. But if Angelo Leo fights and I can still go to Japan, then I will be in Japan. And it's as simple as that. Obviously, I want to go there. I feel like I have a big responsibility as the flag bearer for American, English speaking Japanese content. You know, Shout out to Michael Manning. He says, I'm here, my guy. I'll be in and out the road to 100K. Shout out to Michael Manning, one of my most loyal viewers. Yeah, the road to 100K is on the way. We're less than 10,000 there, so I appreciate everybody for the support. I'm not able to do what I do without you guys, the viewers. So I appreciate you guys. Chris B, what's good, champ? He says, hey BT, just wrapped up a 5-mile run. Good shit, bro. Keep it up. Keep going. Keep your health intact, your mind sharp, all that stuff. Cigar says, what are your thoughts on Manny Pacquiao Promotions winning the purse bid? Leo is fighting away once again. Well, he's not really fighting one away when you think about it because we don't know what card it's gonna be on. We don't. I'm speculating that it's probably gonna be on this Manny Pacquiao Ruslan Pravadakov exhibition card at the Thomas Mack Center. They're saying that's April 18th, so I think it'll land on there. What do I think about it? Personally, if you want my honest thoughts, I don't really have any deep thoughts about it. I'm just glad Angelo's fighting. I don't care if he's the A side, the B side, the C side, or the D side. He's the best featherweight in the world, and I think that he's going to put a beating on Rai Salim. So I'm going to leave it at that. Doesn't really matter. Like, his whole career, there's always been odds against him, but, he wasn't supposed to become a two-time champion. They didn't really, want him to become a two-time champion. And here we are. So... shout out to Sean Gibbons and Manny Pacquiao Promotions for the purse bid, and I look forward to helping Angelo in any way I can, give the boxing fans a great show come whenever they fight, because Rai Salim is no joke. With all due respect to all these other featherweight champions, they're not fighting guys like Rai Salim. 24-1 or 22-1, whatever his record is, 24-1, 22-1. Top contender, high risk, low reward. They're not fighting that kind of guy, that caliber of competition, coming off the biggest win of his career against Makita Nakano. So, God willing, we get to this fight, and the big fights will be there. Shout out to Hand History Boy. He says, "What up, nerd? What's up, champ? What's up, Jit? What's going on? We just here in Vegas. This is my first live, in Vegas. So I haven't been in Las Vegas for 9 months. So it's good to be back. I used to live here for a little bit, and I got a lot of history here. So it's always good when you come back to Vegas. It is kind of like a second home for me, and it's good to be back. It's good to be back in familiar surroundings, around good people, around exceptional people. So, but shout out to all 17 of you here. Listen, guys. Don't be stingy. Smash the like button. I'm here. I could just be chilling. I could just be not here and not giving you guys boxing content, but I'm still here and I'm still checking in with the fine folks out there. So if you got anything you want to ask, I ain't got no script. I don't got anything in particular to talk about. So this is the live where if you want to get your questions off that normally aren't answered, boxing and or non-boxing related, get them off. I'm going to be here. Kyle Kerms, shout out to Kyle Kerms, yeah, man, and congrats on all the success of your channel. He says Barrios is taking it this Saturday, and yeah, it's possible. Mario doesn't have the talent that Ryan has, but one thing about Mario is he works very hard. I would say he's more dedicated to the sport than Ryan. And you know what? Barrios' experience is not to be overlooked or slept on. He's been in there with Keith Thurman. He's been in there with Ugas. He has won against Ugas. He's been in there with Tank Davis. He's been in there with a lot of guys. Manny Pacquiao most recently. So, yeah, Mario Barrios, if we're talking about just in terms of pure experience in the ring, he's got that, you know, at the professional level above Ryan. Because Ryan hasn't really fought the caliber of competition that Barrios fought. Yeah, you could say Barrios stepped up and Barrios lost, but Barrios has been on a big stage many, many times. So that does help. What are your initial thoughts on Zuffa and TKO so far? That's a good question. You know, Zuffa's 3 cards in now. They're a whole 3 cards now into the new era of boxing for them. And I'm gonna say it's been a mixed bag. You know, I think they have progressively been getting their shows have been getting better. The Callum Walsh card, the first card, I didn't like it. I thought it was actually very, very mid. Second card was better. The last card, the most recent card with Umar Dimjekov and Ahmed and Efag Jagba and Charles Martin. Exceptional card. Probably one of the best match cards I've seen in a while in terms of action and giving the fans what they want to see. So I think if they could stay in and around that level, I mean, obviously you're not going to have that perfect of a card every time because, you know, sometimes fighters just have great chins and there's a lot of variables at play when it comes to matching these fights. But I think they're on an upward trajectory. I think they're starting to figure things out as they go along, and good for them. I think at the bare minimum, right? Hold on. What Zuffa Boxing is offering these fighters is it's going to offer a lot of upcoming fighters a chance and a platform to you know, have a chance to do something with their careers, right? Because there's a whole pool of fighters that Matchroom Boxing, Golden Boy, PBC, Top Rank isn't looking at. And there are a lot of fighters that do slip through the cracks. So it's giving a chance to those guys to showcase their skills. And I'm all for that because boxing isn't just about the 1 to 5 fighters that everybody here on YouTube talks about. There's a lot of really good talent out there, but they're not getting the chance. They're not getting the opportunity. So it's giving people a chance, and I can rock with that. Obviously, there's things with the Muhammad Ali Act and certain other things that they're doing that maybe I don't agree with, but at the same time, it's like when you look at the current state of boxing, you know, PBC doesn't have a lot of shows. Top Rank doesn't have a network. And then Matchroom, you know, they're under the DAZN umbrella. They don't got much pull in America. And then Golden Boy doesn't really have a lot of shows either. So the options are very sparse. They're very limited for fighters. Moody's Gamble says, I wonder what type of Japanese fighter they're going to get on the Tokyo Dome Inoue Nakatani fight card. Is there going to be any big exposure for any fighters on the card? I don't know, man. I don't know. You know, one of my biggest dreams for that undercard, and I made a video about it a long time ago. I'm talking about, like, I made a video about it back in, I'm going to say September or August. I really wanted to see my boy Yugo Osaki get a chance to fight on the undercard for a world title. That was my dream, but, you know, his career got stalled out. So he's not gonna get that chance. Like, I'm pretty sure he's not getting that chance. But, you know, I would think that you get a guy like Kenshiro Taraji probably on the undercard. Maybe somebody like a Dai Akira from 108 pounds, someone like that. Yes, guys like that I think get a chance, but we'll see. I'm not really surprised about Efe Ajagba because he's one of those guys that he's been there. You know, he had a chance to fight to fight Frank Sanchez in the IBF eliminator fight. Would have been a rematch too. Would have got him in position for a world title if he won it, and he didn't take it. He didn't want to take the fight. So, you know, I think Zuffa's even good for a guy like him because let's be real, Efe Ajagba is a very hard punching heavyweight. He's a guy that, you know, is dangerous when he can land on you, but, you know, he's Nigerian. He don't got like a ton of marketability, so he kind of fits the bill of what a Zuffa fighter is. And to me, what a Zuffa fighter basically is a fighter that is good, that's exciting, that's marketable, or that's talented and fun to watch, but maybe doesn't have the fan base or the backing to be that commercial star. So that's why you're seeing guys like, you know, Efe Ajagba and you know, even like a Jael Pataya, you know, a lot of guys with a lot of talent. They just don't have that massive built-in fan base like a lot of other fighters have. So they're getting the chance to still progress their career. Guys, make sure you smash that like button, man. Look, man, we got 19 people here, and I only got 6 likes. What's going on, people? What's going on? Y'all don't love BT no more? Do I gotta go on a hiatus? Like, come on, let's not do that. Smash that like button so the live gets pushed out to as many people as possible. You know, I'm here. I'm on the road again. I'm gonna be on the road for quite a long time, and I'm spending my time here with the valuable folks in the fight game. So hit that like button. That's a good question. I think right now, see, you got to understand the dynamics of um, Japanese boxing because in the lighter weight categories, Mr. Honda and them, they got all the control over all the fighters, right? So they can pretty much do whatever they want, however they want, when they please, how they please. But they don't have that kind of control at 140 pounds. So I think for the time being, they're gonna have to come to America. If if um if Andy wins that belt, it all depends upon Mr. Honda, Hideki Ohashi, and the powers that be. Do they feel like Andy is an investment worth making to keep him in Japan? And I think he is. Like, I like Andy Hiraoka. I think Andy Hiraoka is a very entertaining fighter. He's an explosive southpaw power puncher, and he's in the glamour division. Like, just imagine the scenes of bringing certain fighters from America to Japan, right? And a lot of people don't understand it because they don't follow Japanese boxing or they have been to Japan, but Japan is like really and truthfully, guys, one of the best markets for boxing in the whole world. It's somewhere that if you're a fighter, you'd want to be successful there because it gives you a whole new fan base. So, Dog says, would Yuga be better off in Zuffa? He doesn't have that option because Zuffa does not offer. They don't have 108 pounds or even I don't even think they have 112 pounds in Zuffa boxing. Like, and truth be told, like, I mean, I don't want to put all his business out there because there's a whole bunch of shit going on with his career, but he's got a lot of things to solve. But I'm just saying, I'm really frustrated because I feel like he should be getting the investment to fight on a card like Inoue and Nakatani because he really is. People don't know about him like that, but I'm telling you, he's one of the out of all the Japanese fighters, he's one of the most dynamic young talents out there, and he's probably one of the only three fighters in the whole sport of boxing that I know on a personal level where I would be willing to put my own credibility and reputation on the line that he'd be a world champion. But again, being a world champion, it's not just about the fighter. You have to get the opportunities. You got to have promoters that believe in you, and he's not getting those opportunities right now, which it's unfortunate. My man Biddy says, or Hand History says, Fawaz versus Days BT, who do you think wins? I don't have an opinion on that fight because I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know a ton about Fawaz. Fawaz, that's that British dude that, like, that's the guy, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't that the guy that, like, he's from another country and he made a big deal in the media about, being, growing up in the UK, he was the English champion and he doesn't have, like, citizenship, so he can't do certain things in boxing. Wasn't that him? Because if that's what you're talking about, yeah, I just know that about him. I've never really seen him fight. So I'm not going to even lie to you or say that I have an opinion. I don't have an opinion on that fight. Who do I think will win between Andy Cruz and Ira Bell? Very good fight, man. Very, very good fight. I'll go with I don't know, man. I haven't thought too deeply about it, but I would say maybe Andy Cruz, because, like, Albert Bell doesn't have that kind of power or aggression that Murataya has to keep him off. I don't know. That's a very good fight. It's a very good chess match. But I would lean slightly towards Andy Cruz, but not by a lot. I noticed Japan heavily supports almost every top-level Japanese athlete. Damn near. I would say damn near all of them, but they're, like I said, there's politics in everything. There's politics in American boxing. There's politics in even Japanese boxing. I mean, depending on who you ask, there might be more politics in Japanese boxing, honestly. Believe it or not. Because there are fighters from Japan, like here in America, that are very good, and they're good enough to beat the top guys in the weight class, but they just don't get the opportunities for whatever the case may be. It could be promotional issues. It could be, issues with potentially one of their gyms in Japan. Because in Japan, they don't have the Muhammad Ali Act. So your gym chairman, your gym manager, that's like your promoter and your manager at the same time. And it's like, it causes a lot of problems at times. So if I remember well, these guys are not actually signed a TKO. It's an opportunity for them to qualify, fight in Saudi under Turkey. Yeah, because you're right. Because basically what they want to do is they're trying to set up boxing like a league structure, right? So Riyadh season, think of it like this: Riyadh season is the NBA, right? And then Zuffa would be like the NBA G League, right? So that's what it is right now as far as Zoo is concerned. If you go on there, if you go on Zoo Boxing and you kick ass and you take names and you catch Turkey's eye, then boom, you're gonna be bumped up to fight on those big time ring cards, things like that. You know, so we'll see how. Right. Rais's pieces, guys. Rais's pieces. I don't know when the date is yet, but the first bid was today. Angelo Leo versus Rais Ling. We're ready. We're ready, man. I'm ready for camp. Honestly, like everyone's asking me, like, oh, BT, what do you think about the card this weekend? And like, don't get it wrong. Like, I like big time boxing. I'm excited for Garcia versus Barrios and all the great fights on the card. But really, I'm ready for camp, man. I'm ready for camp. I'm ready to go to them deep, dark, uncomfortable places and come beat up on Rais Ling, respectfully. You know. My favorite Michael Jackson song. Oh my god, favorite Michael Jackson song. Maybe I'll go with Recently, I've been liking the one song. How does it go? Um, Tonight, gonna leave my problems on the shelf and just enjoy yourself. Oh, off the wall. Michael Jackson, off the wall. We'll go with that one. That's the one I've been running to a lot recently. So there's no date yet for the fight. The purse bid was today. But the fight is gonna happen no later than May 18th. So I think they're probably gonna fight April 18th on that Manny Pacquiao exhibition that got announced at the Thomas Mack Center, because Pacquiao Promotions won the purse bid. That's a Pacquiao Promotions card here in Vegas, right? So I think that's the route they're gonna go. And listen, I don't give a damn where the fight is. It could be it could be in Florida, New Mexico, Vegas, Jupiter, Saturn, Lithuania. I don't care. As long as the ring is square and the gloves fit, that's all I care about, you know? Because a lot of your guys, fair featherweights, they don't really want to fight. That's why he's got to fight Roddy Selling, because a lot of your guys, fair featherweights, don't really want to fight. Do you think Tyson Fury's fight will be his comeback or his wash fight? I'll tell you this, man. They picked an opponent for him that has washed himself. Like, with all due respect to Arslanbek Makhmudov, strong guy, decent, pedigree. But if you go watch his recent fights, he hasn't exactly been lighting the world on fire, right? So really and truthfully, if Tyson Fury can't beat Makhmudov, it's time to hang it up. So I'm gonna say he wins the fight, but Makhmudov's a bit clumsy, and maybe he might not win in the cleanest of fashions or the most sensational fashion. But yeah, I'm not I don't think he loses to Makhmudov. He shouldn't. I'll be mildly surprised if he does. Shout out to Jazz. He says, I was gonna fly out to Vegas, but I couldn't convince myself to pay to watch Ryan Garcia. Yeah, I hear you. Ryan Garcia's he's not exactly a trustworthy guy. He's missed weight. He's had the whole Osterine thing. So, I fully understand why you didn't want to do it. Hook like Berlanga says, I got Makhmudov by upset. I did not forget the Ngannou fight. Yeah, but like Ngannou is a better athlete. Like, as crazy as it sounds, even though Makhmudov is more well schooled than Ngannou, Makhmudov is super stiff. He's been getting chopped up and beat down by, what was it, Caballero, and I think I forgot who else beat him up. Was it just Caballero, or did he lose to somebody else? 'Cause I'm forgetting right now. But come on, man. Tyson Fury could beat him. Andy Hiraoka versus Gary Russell is the best fight on the card. Yeah, Torres versus Frank Sanchez is a good fight. Shout out to Richard Torres for stepping up to the plate and believing in himself and doing what Efe Ajagba refused to do and fight for the IBF elimination spot. Because I always say this, guys, it don't matter the weight class. The IBF title picture always exposes who really wants to fight and who doesn't. Because fighters will say like, "Oh well, that guy's not a big name," or the rehydration clause, and it's like the IBF to me is the best belt in boxing because it really exposes who really wants to be champion, who really wants to be go through the process of being a champion. But shout out to all 27 of you guys out there. It's your boy BT, Brendan Taylor, the untouchable True School Sports Empire. It's your favorite program, True School After Dark, and I'm live in the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. Where's everybody watching from? What city, what state, what continent is everybody in? Where we at? Do we got anybody in Florida? We got anybody in New York, California, Texas? Where we at? North Carolina, Illinois? Where we at? Japan, UK? Anybody in the building from them places? Let me know where you guys are at. I like Torres. I hope good things happen for him. Yeah, Torres is a likable guy. I like Torres. Hartford, Connecticut, in the building, the home of Marlon Starlin. Kansas in the building. We got Kansas in the building. Okay. I'm in Vegas, but I'm working. I can't go to the fight. Okay. We got Connecticut. We got upstate New York. Yes, sir. I got family in upstate New York. Shout out to my grandma, my aunt. What up, BT? What's up? Illinois. Shout out to Illinois. I hope Komatov comes back swinging. He's been so inactive. Yeah, see, that's one guy right there. Otabek Komatov. I know he had that fight with Ford and he lost. But Otabek Komatov is still one of the best featherweight contenders out there. That was a guy. Otabek was a guy that I really wanted to see top ranked match Bruce Carrington up with on the way to him fighting for a title, because I feel like if you really want to know what you have with Shushu, that would have been the fight to make, right? Guy that's challenged for a world title, a lot of pedigree, hits really hard, can box, you know. Instead, you know, Top Rank did a very Top Rank thing. They put Shushu in with guys that were tailor-made for his style, like Enrique Vivas, like Matias Hayta, like Dana Kuwell. And they got a Carlos Castro fight, and they won. So credit to them. They made another world champion. But for myself, just as a fight fan, the fight I wanted to see a lot was Otabek Komatov versus Shushu, because he was there. Like, no one wanted to fight him. He was under contract with Top Rank until just recently when Top Rank let go of him. And they didn't make the fight, so... Tonight, gonna leave my problems on the shelf and just enjoy yourself. D-Style Boxing in the building. How's it going, brother? It's going well, champ. On the road. The True School Road Show has commenced, so I don't know when I'm going home, but I'll be moving around, shaking hands, kissing babies, you know, doing my little interviews, going to these fights. Life is good. God is good. I'm healthy. Family's healthy. Everything is good. Is the Frank Martin versus Nahir Albright fight still on? I heard it might be canceled. From what I have heard otherwise. The only fight that I heard might be canceled was the Gary Russell Andy Hiraoka fight, but Andy Hiraoka got his visa stuff straightened out. I didn't see you, champ. Hold on. He said, what do you do when you're in camp? Oh, man. We do a lot of film studying. We run. We train. We definitely do a lot of studying. We pray. Any and everything. Any and everything that it takes to win. We do a lot of cooking. You know, it's a very stressful time, but it's an equally good time as well. You know, these camps are awesome. I mean, it's kind of hard to describe camp. You know, it's hard to describe. You know, it's not anything spectacular, but it's still spectacular. Vaquero versus Nunez most likely is the favorite for most likely the best fight of the year. Yeah, there's certain fights in boxing that come around that you know, like, they're not gonna disappoint. Like, it's guaranteed fireworks. That's one of them. There's no way in hell I could see a Navarrete or Sugar Nunez getting on their back foot and circling the ring and just trying to win like that. Like, no. They're two proud Mexican fighters fighting in Arizona. There's gonna be a great crowd there. It's a legacy fight. For Sugar Nunez, it's a legacy fight for him, right? Because he hasn't quite accomplished as much in the game as Rafael Espinoza, but yeah. Ellie Star says, "You put me on with Lawrence Newman. He's nice for sure." Listen, man, I'm telling anybody who will listen, like Lawrence Newman is the truth. Like, and I've been saying this for years, but like, he just not nobody cares. But Lawrence Newton is an exceptional talent. Coming from the South Florida boxing scene in them gyms, we produce guys like Teofimo Lopez, Xander Zayas, but I've always said like he's in terms of talent, skill, and ability, he's up there with them guys, right? He could be a champion, and now he's got Chris Glover behind him, and he's getting the chance, he's getting afforded the opportunity to be in an active fighter, which he's never really had. So, I love Lawrence Newman. I think if he's afforded the opportunity to stay active and build his way up the rankings, he'll be a world champion, and I'll stand by it. Are you and Satel gonna link when you're in Vegas? Of course. I've been coming to Las Vegas for 10 years, so I've been knowing Sean for like 10 years. There hasn't been one time where I've come out to Vegas and I haven't linked with Sean Satel. We always link as friends and in the media. So, in fact, what's funny is right now I'm supposed to be with Sean Satel, but I got caught up with some other stuff, so I'll probably see Sean maybe tomorrow or the next day. I'm not sure yet. I got to give him a call, let him know what's going on. But yeah, I'll see Sean here soon. Charlie Suarez. You're talking about Charlie Suarez. He's a guy that really it's kind of messed up because even though this is a big marketable fight with Navarrete and Nunez, Charlie Suarez is a guy that really should be getting his rematch right now because he was on his way to having a big win in his career, and what happened. So it sucks, but that's how boxing is sometimes. I don't see Shakur fighting. I don't see Shakur Stevenson ever fighting Andy Hiraoka if Andy Hiraoka gets into a world title position or a position of power. Because look, like Shakur Stevenson, what I like him. He's like, there's not many fighters I grade and class as highly as Shakur Stevenson, but I'm noticing, man, whenever it comes time for him to get matched with another like high level technical elite fighter like him, he has a different energy. Like look at Oshaki Foster. Like I think Shakur could beat Oshaki Foster, but like when Oshaki's been calling him out, he's had his foot on his neck, and Shakur Stevenson does not have that same energy for Oshaki Foster that he does for Conor Ben. And I'm wagging my finger at Shakur, really and truthfully. Corey Lee Boxing, what's good, champ? Um, I mean, a lot of people are picking Mario Barrios. I'm not. I've never believed in Mario Barrios. I'm not gonna start now. Even though I know I probably shouldn't really believe in Ryan Garcia, but man, Mario is he just ain't it, man. He just ain't it. And credit to him. I always say that a fighter is only as good as his team, and that statement really, really applies to Mario Barrios more than any fighter in boxing. Because of Bob Santos, Louis DeCubas Jr., and the fine folks at PBC, he's been able to progress his career far beyond the level anybody could have ever imagined. Fighting on pay per view, headlining big time shows, making money that most fighters dream of. But he's not like an otherworldly talent, creme de la creme, top shelf fighter. He's just not. And you know what? Maybe for Ryan Garcia, maybe he doesn't have to be because Ryan Garcia might actually just be that overrated. But shout out to everyone here, man. We here in Vegas for the first time in 9 months. I haven't been to the West Coast in general in like what? The last time I was out here on the West Coast, it was what? When I was in the Bay Area back in October. So it's good to be back out west. Is Shakur the greatest defensive fighter you've seen since Floyd BT? He's definitely up there. Let me see. Who else would I put up there? I mean, there's not a whole lot of options. I would say in the post Mayweather era, yeah, he definitely is. But You know what's crazy? The same thing I'm gonna criticize Shakur Stevenson for, I could probably criticize Floyd for, because Floyd, for and trust me, guys, I believe, like, I think the world of Floyd as a fighter, but he never really fought another like high level technical elite boxer and or counter puncher, like back foot fighter like him. You know, like I would have liked to see like something like that. And the same thing you could say for Shakur. That's why I want to see Shakur fight Oshaki Foster, because Oshaki Foster is a fighter that knows how to keep things nice and disciplined and long and professional, right? He knows how to keep you on the end of his punches and neutralize you in that way. He's not a front foot dominant guy that comes forward to you and allows you to, circle the ring and probe and do what you want and make you reset. No, no. I want to see what level are those boxing skills really on with Shakur, you know? Yeah, Terrence Crawford was a great defensive fighter. Obviously, people may not think of Terrence Crawford as a great defensive fighter because he was so aggressive and he had such a killer mentality that he would get hit sometimes. And there's multiple moments in his career where you can point to and say, hey, he got buckled against Mean Machine. He got hurt against Gamboa, but that's because he's going after you. But in the fights where Terrence Crawford decided to box, like Ray Beltran, Canelo Alvarez, he can do the same thing Shakur can do. And he's got the ability to finish your ass. So that's what made him such a great fighter. He was a complete all-around fighter. Ooh, Bivol. Yeah. I'm gonna say it's a toss-up, right? And I'm glad you brought up Bivol's name, because I didn't even think of Bivol's name. I've been saying this. Bivol to me is the best pure boxer in the sport. I would say even like you could say he's 1A and 1B with Shakur, but like I've seen Bivol, who, by the way, Bivol is not no big, massive, monstrous light heavyweight. Bivol is he's an average, he's a decent sized light heavyweight. You might even could say he's maybe a little bit undersized, but he's fighting these big, strong dudes, these better BFs, these guys that can box, punch, strong, and he's so masterful. The way he's able to control with his feet, his probes, his feints. He throws the right amount of volume. Like, he's just the total package. So I'll accept Bivol and I'll accept Shakur. Those are the two answers I'll accept. I I remember the Canelo versus Skull stream with Sean. Still might have been one of the boringest fights I've seen in my life. I was there. I was there with Sean on his channel for that stream. Very boring fight. That's not one that I'm gonna go back and rewatch. And it makes you wonder, right? Because Canelo went off the full 12 with William Skull. William Skull just fought Jacob Bank, who was not a big name, who's not like a highly regarded fighter. And Jacob Bank put belt to ass on Skull and stopped him. So kind of makes Crawford's win against Canelo look bad. Or look worse. Bivol versus Crawford, who would have won? It's a great question. It's a hell of a question. The fans. I don't know, man. Because, Crawford is the more aggressive fighter, for sure. He's the more aggressive fighter. I would probably say Bivol on points. I don't think nobody in boxing could outbox Bivol. The closest I've ever seen Bivol to getting hurt. I'm trying to think, because did he get hurt in the first Better BF fight? I don't think he got hurt. Like, Better BF was able to land some big shots in the second half of the first fight. But the closest I've seen Bivol to really getting hurt was when he fought, I'm gonna say it was Pascal or Joe Smith. It was one of those two guys. And it was after the bell. One of them threw an overhand right, and they hit Bivol, and he was he stumbled a bit. His legs buckled. But other than that, it's been pretty smooth sailing. Munguia, Berlanga, and Skull all got exposed, and thank God for that. Even though I like Berlanga, but you are what you are on this fight game. Jaime Munguia is making a resume for ducking the most fights of all time by the end of his career. I wonder how long the list is going to be. Well, look, I've told you guys this for years, because I remember I was telling you guys the truth behind Munguia years ago, that he wasn't like that. The Jaime Munguia is a guy, a fighter that really and truthfully, he's just not what Zanford Promotions and Mexican boxing want to make him out to be. And that's been proven time and time again when it comes time to step up against big time competition. Getting knocked out by Bruno Soares, who's not even a big puncher, right? So, he's ducked so much competition it's hard to count. Resendiz, Andrade, Jonabek, and the list goes on and on. But yeah, shout out to everyone in here, man. It's the untouchable True School Sports Empire. This is True School Unfiltered. This is like not even a scripted live. There's no talking points. There's no like intense research that was done for this live. I just came here and I just want to come keep the momentum going here on True School Sports and just come say what's up to the people, the fine folks here on YouTube that don't want to talk boxing. Yeah, I mean Edgar Berlanga was disappointing hoops convo because I would say during the pandemic, and you guys can feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but during the pandemic, 2020, around that time, there was no fighter, in my opinion, who was a bigger star than Edgar Berlanga. He was the star of the pandemic. He was the fighter that generated the most excitement during the pandemic because that's when the first round knockout streak was going on, mostly during the pandemic. And so people had high expectations of him because of what he was doing and how sensational he was looking. And it stunted his growth. It really, really did. And it's crazy because Top Rank cut him off. Top Rank cut his ass off before he even lost. You know, it's really bad in boxing when a promotional company cuts you and you're undefeated. You know, I mean now with Top Rank it's not so bad anymore because they don't have a network. So fighters that they don't have as a priority, even if they're undefeated, are getting cut, like Andres Cortez. But like when Berlanga got cut from Top Rank, they still had the ESPN deal. They were still very much a business. They still very much had a lot of dates. So that right there will tell you what they think about him. Jazz says, BT, don't turn into a company man. Okay, so a couple of questions. Why are you saying that to me? And I haven't been a company man for 10 and a half years, and I built True School Sports from 0 to 90,000, right? 61 million views and counting, right? If I didn't already become a company man, what makes you think I'm gonna become one now? I very much enjoy what I'm doing here. I don't want to become a company man. Who should Inoue fight his first fight at 126? I mean, they're all good fights. You got obviously. If you're asking me, I mean, you don't want to ask me that question because you guys already know what I'm gonna say. But more than likely, who I think he's gonna fight, I'll tell you who I think he's gonna fight first fight at 126. His first fight at 126 is probably gonna be Bruce Carrington because Bruce Carrington has been doing a great job of doing a whole lot of talking, and Bruce Carrington is from New York City. Inoue has never fought in New York City, so it makes sense. It's a dream. It's a dream of his. What better way to do it than against a fellow New Yorker who's undefeated with a good record, But if you're asking me who I think he should fight, I would like to see him fight Angelo Leo because I've always wanted to see that fight. I just saw the Manny Pacquiao purse bid news. Yeah, man. Yeah. So we're just waiting for the date on when it's gonna happen, and that's the main. Like everyone's like asking, "What BT? Why are you going to Vegas?" Because I'm in camp. I'm going to camp. This is my third camp with Angelo. So I'm really excited about it. My third camp and my seventh fight? Because Alameda. I went to Alameda, Polanco, Planilla, Baez, Venado, Tomoki. So yeah, seventh fight, third camp. Ha! You got jokes. Hoops Convo. He said, I actually think he might go to Leo route because Leo is the easy of the four. I mean, hey man, I'm glad you think that way. I just wish Mr. Honda thought that way. I wish he thought that way. I wish like a lot of these matchmakers thought that way. Cause you talk to the matchmaker, you talk to the shot callers of boxing, they don't think that way. So I'm gonna say it'll be Shushu. Cause you guys can have your opinions, but I be talking to these matchmakers. I be having conversations with them, and they don't really want it. Cause they know, And everything at featherweight, guys, is actually ass backwards. I'm gonna tell you guys about the featherweight division. Everything you think about featherweight is ass backwards. The guy that people think is the strongest in the division is actually the weakest of the division. And the guy that everyone thinks is the weakest of the division, or a lot of people think is the weakest of the division, is actually the best in the division. So do the math. But it's okay. The truth will be revealed, and you guys shall see. And I'm gonna be here to tell you guys I told you so. Man, who's calling you out here telling jokes, champ? Because they don't even believe that. Should undisputed fights be mandatory? Should undisputed fights be mandatory? I don't know if they should be. Nah, I don't. I think there's checks and balances in boxing, right? Because the reason why you have voluntaries and mandatories is so fighters can get their shot. How many times have you guys tuned in to watch the fight where you thought, yo, this guy fighting, who's the B-side, he ain't shit, and then you find out the guy that you thought was gonna beat him actually wasn't as good as you thought and got exposed? How many times have I had to come here on True School Sports and do a post-fight review video and say, fill in the blank, exposed by fill in the blank, right? And that normally comes when fighters don't live up to the perception of what they're perceived to be before the fights. So, yeah, I believe in undisputed fights, but I also believe that, fighters should get their shot, because there's a lot of good fighters that just they don't have the backing. They don't have the politics on their side, and they got to jump through extra hoops. There's a million fights they got to win before they get in the ring. So if Leo was like that, why did he lose to Stephen Fulton? I mean, that was, 5 years ago? He lost because it wasn't his night. It wasn't his night. I mean, I could sit here, I can make excuses. On that night, the better man won. Now, you're asking the wrong questions. And, the real question you should be asking, because a lot of y'all like to ask me about shit from 5 years ago. The real question you should be asking me is, why is it that when Stephen Fulton became a champion, he had the WBC belt, and Angelo had the IBF belt, why didn't a lot of you guys who were asking me these questions, why didn't you guys put pressure on Stephen Fulton to unify? For a rematch unification fight. Y'all just let Stephen Fulton go out the division and not say nothing, Venado was winning that Leo fight before Leo got him. I mean, hey, we all have our opinions, even if they're incorrect. That wasn't what was happening. The reason Venado got knocked out the way was because he was systematically getting his ass whooped the whole fight, badly. And if you don't believe me, go back and watch the fight. I challenge you, please go back and watch the fight. I'm not saying that Venado wasn't in the fight. He was in the fight. He was the bigger puncher in terms of one punch power, but the more accurate fighter was Angelo, and he was landing to the body, to the head, and he was killing the body, and the head eventually fell. Don't you know boxing, champ? Did you see the Umar Demjekov knockout? Yes, I did. I did a whole video about it. It was probably one of the most impressive performances I've seen from any fighter with less than 15 fights in a long time. That guy is the truth. It's been a while since I watched a fighter for the first time, and I'm all in. I didn't know a ton about Umar Demjekov before that fight against Ahmed Albiali, but I'm all in. Zuffa wants to match him with Hot Rod. I think he's going to turn Hot Rod over bad. That guy is the truth. If Tomoe Kameda beats Mirko Quayle, does he fight Brandon Figueroa? I don't know. I mean, Brandon Figueroa doesn't seem like the most eager to unify. All he's been talking about is doing a hometown fight for his fans in Texas. So, I don't know. And as far as Kameda, I mean, he has to beat Quayle, which it's a good fight. It's a very good fight. It's a chance for Quayle to make a statement, because one thing I will give Kameda is he's a very crafty veteran. He knows he's never been stopped in 50-something fights. So, he knows how to fight. He knows how to fight to win, obviously, because he's been champion and he's defended it multiple times, and he knows how to, survive and be crafty in that way. So, do you think this is the year that the Saudi money is starting to be felt less for boxing? I already think they pulled back a little bit, because I mean, you're still gonna get big cards in Riad, but they're not happening at the volume that they were in the beginning. And I told you guys that. I said, look, enjoy these Saudi super cards for what they are. It's a moment in time, but it's gonna be just a moment in time. That's it. It's not like that no more with Zuffa in the fold. Top Rank broadcast was favoring Venado, if I remember, or the rounds were close. That was a brutal KO from Leo, though I heard Venado got brain damage. He got brain damage because he had both them bricks put up upside his head for like 10 rounds. That's why he got brain damage. That wasn't just that one shot. That was the whole fight. But again, man, you didn't believe it that fight, so let Inoue come up. I dare Inoue. I challenge Shingo. Tekken Promotions don't like me either, so I challenge them. Whatever they want to do. IBF title ain't going nowhere, so we'll be here. Waiting, not waiting, because we got Roddy Salim. We don't get to fight Arnold K. Guy. We don't get to fight Sergio Trino Sanchez. We don't get to fight Carlos Castro for a vacant title. We have to actually fight real people. Leo beating Ali would be a great win in my opinion. He beat Makita Nakano, who people were really saying would beat Leo and really convincingly. And I told you guys when they faced off, and I posted the video on my channel because I was there. And you guys know I like Nakano. Like I cover the Japanese featherweights, and I can name you all the top 5 featherweights from Japan. You got Nakano, you got Kenji Fujita, you got Ryota Owan, you got Kameda, and then you got another guy who I can't remember right now. But like those are the main guys. With the 3 I named, the first 3 I named being the younger new guard. He was the best of the younger new guard, right? But like he's got that Tekken boxing gym, that rigid ass style. They all like all these Tekken gym fighters, Tenshin, Nakano, Shokichi Iwata, they all lose the same way to the same style over and over again. Like I know the Japanese boxing style can be very rigid at times, but like for some reason, I don't know what it is, but the fighters from that gym are a bit more rigid than the other fighters in Japan, He says, bro, Inoue beats your friend and deep down in your heart. Listen, I've been saying it for years. I'm trying to be humble, and not be disrespectful because I actually like Inoue, but like you guys are gonna get me out of character. I don't want to get out of character. I'm trying to tell you guys, Inoue can't beat Angelo at featherweight. I'm telling you. Espinoza can't beat Angelo at featherweight. Shushu definitely can't beat Angelo at featherweight. I'm gonna underline that one. He definitely can't beat Angelo at featherweight, right? And that's just what it is. So if they do, fair play to them, but it's not happening at featherweight. You guys keep talking about the Stephen Fulton fight. That's 5 years ago, and it's a whole different weight class. Are you guys the same person you were 5 years ago? I know I ain't, and I hope you guys aren't. Will Inoue take Rafa to Japan or Leo or both? I don't know. We'll have to see how things shake out, champ. I don't think Zamfir Promotions is going to let Espinoza go over there. I'm just being honest. Johnny says, yo, man, are you coming back? Because I'm going to bed. I don't know what I'm doing. Right now I'm going live. Probably not. Has Venado fought since? But he's been fighting like a bunch of Mexican taco stand workers. He hasn't really fought no one worth talking about. Like if you go on his box rec right now, he ain't fought no one worth talking about. He was trying to fight Rafael Espinoza, and he was dead serious about it. But he was in the media talking crazy, and I guess Rafa decided that he was gonna fight Arnold K. Guy. Because if you guys remember, I did a video about it, and the reports were there. Before the K. Guy fight got agreed to, there were a bunch of reports about Venado fighting Espinoza, but then Espinoza fought K. Guy. And look, there's a lot I could say about Venado, but one thing I'll say about Venado, he not ducking no fights. Like, that dude will fight anyone. He's been in the road. He's fought top guys on the road. He voluntarily picked Angelo, which was dumb, but it was, still he's fighting tough competition. So, I mean, if I'm going on track record, I don't think it was, I think Venado wanted that fight. Because I think Venado, being the proud champion he is, being a, Mexican warrior that he is, he wants to prove to the world that, hey, I'm still one of them guys. Johnny says, our friend is going to beat Inoue. We know this deep in our... We do. Been knowing it for years. But it's okay. Just when it happens, I don't want to hear that he was too small or, that he was exhausted from fighting fucking TJ Doheny and all these guys. No. Just all I want is just credit. I just want respect. And that's that. What did Aretha Franklin say? She just wants some respect. That's all. It's not hate. We just want some respect because we feel like we don't get it. Mooney's Gamble says Rafa has been moved real slow. It seems they're just waiting on the Inoue payday and the move up. See, a lot of people like to throw out accusations and put the whole featherweight division under the umbrella of like, oh, this guy's waiting for a payday and that guy. Listen, the only two guys in this division, and I'm not gonna criticize Shushu because he just got here. Bruce Carrington just got here, so I can't really criticize him. He just got to the featherweight as a champion. But the only guy who's been champion, who's in a position to sit around and wait for Inoue, is Rafael Espinoza. Let's be real. Like, Top Rank is fully behind him. Zampa Promotions is fully behind him. He's an emerging star. He's a potential guy that they're looking at to be one of the next faces of Mexican boxing. And he's fighting very beatable competition. Let's just be real about it. Nick Ball was the same way. Nick Ball was also another guy that was waiting. But, I mean, like, you can't really say Brandon Figueroa is waiting. He just got here, and Bruce Carrington just got here. So we'll see how they move as champion. And then as for Angelo, I mean, I've touched on this many times, like, with Pro Box, I won't say much. All I'll say is just go look at the purse bid numbers, and that will kind of tell you the story and confirm what I've been saying these last couple of lives about Pro Box and why there has been inactivity and those kind of things. So, yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Brain injuries can literally change people's lives, not just life or death. Can change the way a regular life. I've seen fighters develop epilepsy. Yeah, they can. They can. It's a serious thing. Listen, anytime a fighter goes in the ring, and God has blessed me to know, fighters at all levels in the fight game, guys that are champions, guys that are prospects, guys that are gatekeepers, veterans, all kinds of stuff. But my prayer for all these guys is that they just get out the ring safely and they can go to their families and things like that. Because every time you go in that ring, it's a roll of the dice. Like, it's a roll of the dice of not just your career, but more importantly, your life. And we've seen guys over the years, R.I.P. to, Kazuki Anaguchi and what's his name, Maxime Dadashev and all the fallen warriors of the last, of history. Dooku Kim back in the day, with Ray Mancini. So, yeah, it's a tough game. Who do you got in the Callum Smith versus David Morrell fight? It's a good question. I haven't thought too deeply about it because that fight just got made. Well, they're in Liverpool, right? So Liverpool has a long history of robbing fighters. So if you're gonna win in Liverpool, you got to do what Brandon Figueroa just did with Nick Ball. Because Callum Smith himself, I feel like he was part of one of the biggest robberies from Liverpool when he fought John Ryder. I thought John Ryder beat him and beat him pretty clearly, and they robbed John Ryder of his lifelong dream of becoming world champion. It's hard to, it's hard. That's a hard one to pick because, I picked, Callum Smith just beat Buatsi. I still believe Morrell. Like, I'm not ready to throw Morrell to the wayside. I think Morrell will get it done, but he better, he needs to come in here with a sense of urgency against Callum Smith, because if he leaves his close, he's not getting a decision in Liverpool. So I'll go Morrell. Bro, Leo should unify versus Brandon, or do you think it's a hard fight to make? Look, man, I want to keep it respectful. There's a reason why we're fighting Rai Salim. There's a reason why he has to fight Rai Salim. That's what it is. That's all I'll say. Brandon just got here, right? Brandon Figueroa just got here. Bruce Carrington just got here, so I can't really say anything bad about those guys. They just got here. So let's see how they move, right? Let's see how they move. Yes, I'm cool with Angelo. Like, I'm great friends with him, but I'm not delusional. Like, I know the position he's in, so he's not really in that position to dictate to those guys, unfortunately. But doesn't mean he won't beat them if they fight. So we just gotta keep winning and wait our turn, But I don't personally, just based on what I know about Brandon and just hearing him talk, I don't think that's a fight that's like at the top of his list. I think he wants the Bruce Carrington fight. If the Inoue Leo fight happens, it would do wonders for Leo to win or lose. Something tells me he's going to be one of the last opponents Inoue is going to fight. You ain't lying, champ. You ain't lying. Dog says, I guarantee if Leo beats Inoue, people will dog on Inoue, and it will be a shame because not only is it disrespect to, I don't, at that point, look, at that point, I won't care what people say. I've already gotten past the point of caring what people have to say because you guys are calling Rafael Espinoza a killer because he's fighting on OK guy and Sergio Trino Sanchez. So I've grown past that. People like most boxing fans, and I'm not just saying this for Angelo, it's like other fighters too. There's other fighters that are out here fighting real competition and they're not getting the love. Like, for example, I'll name a guy for you. I'll name a fighter for you guys on a lower level who's not a champion, who's not necessarily a big name, but he's fighting top competition, and I don't see boxing fans getting behind him, and that's Joe James. He got knocked out against Lester Martinez, but if you look at all the guys he's fought in his career, is guys with good records, is guys that come to win, and he don't really get no shine in the 68 division, right? And the only guy he lost to is Lester. And Lester's one of the top guys out there, but he knocked out David Stevens. He's beaten really good competition, and none of his fights are easy. All of his fights are freaking hard. So when I hear boxing fans talk about, oh, we want fighters that fight the best, and then I see fighters that actually go ahead and fight the best, and then they don't get no support, then it's like, well, no, you guys don't. Most people don't actually care about who fights the best. You care about the narratives that the promoters sell you, and that's what it is. Because if it really was about the fighters who are fighting the best and hardest competition, there would be like the guys who are popular in the sport would be a lot different, you know. Like, I like Gervonta Davis. You know, he's a guy that I've enjoyed covering his fights. I love watching him fight, but like, he's one of the most popular fighters in boxing, and he's got a very weak resume, an insanely weak resume. Sure, he fought a Pitbull Cruz, he fought Frank Moore, he fought some good guys, but like for the amount of fame he's received, like, his resume don't match up. Jaron Ennis, right? And here we go. Jaron, another one. He fought a Montes Stanionis, and people wanted to, you know, cream their pants because he fought Stanionis, his like for only decent opponent. Ramon Cardenas gave Inoue a decent fight and has people watching him because he just gave him a good fight. Yeah, no, I was there. He dropped Inoue bad. But again, people are supporting Cardenas, right? But I was at Ramon Cardenas' last fight. He fought in South Florida. He fought at the damn War Memorial Auditorium, which is a minuscule venue, right? So yeah, maybe people are checking for him here and there, but like, he's not no star. Like, he's not headlining in San Antonio, where he's from. He's not getting no big fights. He's fighting some random dude in South Florida, where he's not even from. So it's like, yeah, these last 3 years, I've been very observant about what people say they want and then what they actually respond to. And what boxing fans say they want and what they respond to are two different things. That's what I've learned these last 3 years with so many different fighters. Because if you just look at the guys that are popular, like that are really, really popular, it's not all guys who are just fighting the best like people say they want. I got, by the way, for those asking about Navarrete Nunez, I got Eduardo Sugar Nunez in that fight. Charles Conwell lost to Jorge Sebastian Garcia, and then Charles Conwell, he hasn't got put on the shelf, but he had some injuries. So from what I've heard and from what I've gathered, he's recovering from some injuries. So, you know, he's, from what I've heard, because I've spoke to Rick Glazer, I've spoke to like people that work with Golden Boy, they said that he should be back soon. Let me see. Do you think Opataya is going to get a chance to test his ability in the cruiserweight division? Opataya, what fights all? I mean, he's got Benavidez and he's got Zordo, so it's going to be a slippery slope to navigate because, you know, he's with Zuffa now. Those guys aren't. So Dana White, we're going to see if Dana White and Zuffa are serious about co-promoting, or is it just going to be about Zuffa domination? I don't know. The way he's talking, it sounds like he's been sold the dream of being allowed to still fight those guys while being with Zuffa. So, I don't know. I really couldn't tell you. I hope he does. What I'll tell you is this about Opataya potentially fighting Benavidez and Zorro. Not what I think. I'm going to tell you guys what I know, right? I went to the WBA convention myself in Orlando, and I sat at a table. I was sitting there with my boy Trayshawn Wiggins, the welterweight. I was sitting there with a guy named Brock Cole, who's a trainer. I was sitting there with his lovely daughter, Gabrielle. You know, shout out to her. And then to my left was what's his name? Guy named David Sue, manager. He was Zoro's manager. I met him one time, right? And I started talking to him. And I asked him, I said, hey man, like Zoro versus Benavidez is a great fight, but you know, like, what's going on with Opataya? Like, you guys don't want to like explore the Opataya fight? And he looked me dead in my eye and he said, "There's no money in that fight, and he's not that good. We'll fight him later." Like, you know, he's very dismissive of Opataya. So, yeah, the fight got made with Benavidez, and Opataya is with Zuffa now. So, that's what I've been told. Shout out to my main man, Joel. Good to see you, Joel. He says Navarrete versus Sugar will not even be close, BT. I think it's a good fight. I mean, I could definitely see a pathway for Vaquero to win, but I'm gonna go with the younger guy. I'm gonna go with the guy with really heavy hands, with underrated hand speed when he puts them together, and he can actually box a little bit because when he was out there in Japan, and he fought Masanori Rikishi. Masanori Rikishi came with a very detailed game plan, and that dude was circling the ring like crazy, and so it was very difficult to cut the ring off and be effective offensively, and Sugar Nunez was, right, in that fight. So he showed me enough in that fight for me to believe that he can pull it out against Vaquero, who is up there in age, who, let's not forget, was getting his ass whooped by Charlie Suarez before the head clash or whatever. So I'm gonna go with Nunez, man. I think this is his fight to announce himself to the world. Mooney's Gamble says, I'll never forget people trying to convince me that Usima Lima was a good opponent, saying Inoue is fine. No one told me to. It's fine to just. I mean, look, man, we beat that like a dead horse here on True School Sports. I took the piss out that fight, the whole build up, and it was actually worse than I thought it would be. I was telling you guys that Jaron Ennis versus Usima Lima was the new rivalry in boxing. Philly versus Angola. That's what they gave us. We said, hey, give us Boots versus Virgil. Give us Boots versus, you know, someone of high status, and they gave us Philly versus Angola. So I had to just take the piss out of the whole promotion, and the fight was worse than I thought it would go. Who do I think has a better resume? The better resume between Crawford and Inoue? I mean, to be honest, I would. People ain't gonna like what I'm gonna tell you. I think Inoue has a better resume than Crawford because, like, when he beat Canelo, Canelo already was showing signs of slippage against William Skull, and look how bad William Skull has performed since he fought Canelo. So it's like I never really like yeah, he beat Canelo, was great. I you know, all time great, all that blase blase. I gave him his due, but like I all the guys that Inoue has fought even after like he beat them have a lot of those guys have went on to have really good careers. Look at a guy like I won't even talk about Cardenas or any of those guys. I'll go all the way back to like his fifth or sixth pro fight when he fought Ryoichi Taguchi, right? He beat him. And then Taguchi went on to become a unified champion later on after that. And that's just like one of the many laundry list of examples of guys on his resume that the wins aged well. Yeah, for those of you asking me about Andy Hiraoka, he's got his visa. He's gonna be here in Vegas for the fight. So, you know, that's good news. But I'm pissed off. You know, shame on Mr. Honda and Ohashi because I've been saying it in all my Andy Hiroka videos. I've been saying that, like, you know, they don't really give him the same type of promotional push that they do, like, you know, regular Japanese fighters because, you know, he's black. Like, he's black. His dad's half African. So even though Andy Hiroka grew up in Japan, he speaks fluent Japanese. He don't get treated like the other top Japanese fighters do. And you know what? I'm gonna take it a step further. Jin Sasaki, who I'm a big fan of. I love Jin Sasaki. I love Jin. I love his gym. I'm friends with the guy that owns his gym, Issei Nakaya. Shout out to Hachiyoshi Nakaya boxing gym in the beautiful Hachiyoshi, Tokyo. But like Jin got knocked the fuck out by Andy Hiroka, right? And when it came time for Jin to get a world title fight in Japan against Brian Oman Jr., they paid the money and brought Brian Oman Jr. to Japan. But they haven't necessarily given Andy Hiroka that same treatment, despite the fact that Andy Hiroka is undefeated and beat the hell out of Ismael Barroso and has like good wins on his resume. So I don't know. So who has Inoue beat? Who is an all-time great? Please don't say 37-year-old Donaire. Well, I could be wrong, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think Donaire was 37 when he fought him. But shit, even if he was, yeah, I'm gonna say Donaire. Donaire is one of the Donaire is a future first ballot Hall of Famer. Bro, Donaire is like, what is he, 43? 25 years in the game, he's still fighting at the top level of the bantamweight division, and still, you know, giving top guys all they can handle, top contenders all they can handle. He just fought Seiya Sutsumi, a champion. A lot of people thought he could have won that fight. Probably should have got the nod. Now he's turning around. He's fighting Riku Masuda, one of the biggest punchers of the division, right? I mean, that's a pretty damn good win. And he got knocked out before the Inoue fight. No, he didn't. Did he? Who did he fight? I don't have a computer in front of me. I don't think he did. But all I'm saying is like, man, you see, y'all don't want to go down this path with me, because we start picking apart resumes. A lot of you guys who are just in love. Like, I like Crawford. I think Crawford's a great fighter, but like, y'all get to the point where you think that a Crawford's resume don't got holes in it, and it got a ton of holes in it. Like, people made Crawford out to be this guy that, it was being treated unfairly, right? And yeah, maybe there's truth. Like, yeah, PBC was on a unified front to box Crawford out because they had all the champions, right? So they were trying to get Crawford to come to their side of the street, right? But last time I checked, Terrence Crawford didn't have no problem re-signing with Top Rank and then fighting Amir Khan for a washed-up, shinny Amir Khan for $4.5 million or $5.5 million, whatever it was, somewhere around there. Then he turned around after that same year, fought Kavaluskis for another $4 million. But then y'all want to say he's getting mistreated. If he's getting mistreated, then I'm sure a lot of fighters in boxing want to get mistreated. Getting paid $4 million to fight fucking Mean Machine. Hiraoka is very Zuffa. That's the new BT line. It's very good fighters that don't sell people that don't want to help them. Yeah. Hiraoka, he's a guy that shouldn't be very Zuffa. He shouldn't. But because of how they decided to treat him, because, he don't look like Jintozaki or Nai or Inoue, he's becoming very Zuffa. We're gonna have to start coining some of these terms here on True School Sports, like very Zuffa. Oh, here we go. Crawford fans get mad when people say Canelo was washed, but the funny thing is they were saying the exact same thing before the Crawford Canelo. They were. Oh my God, they were. I remember being on Twitter and that was the main reason everyone was picking him, because they felt like Canelo was washed. Keeps Crawford's name out your mouth, bro. If I want to name this, listen. This is my channel. I'll do what I want, how I want, when I want to do it, how I want to do it. So if I decided to, on a job with that, if I decided to name this channel Terrence Crawford Sucks, then that's what it's gonna be. I named it Canelo Exposed by Bivol. Did y'all forget? Like, I'll do what I want to do. Oh, okay. All right, Crawford. I'll chill out. Because you said not me, so I'll chill out. But who has the best resume with the least holes? Doesn't even need to be a champ, just someone who's fighting top guys. Someone who's fighting top guys, who's not like a champion. I mean, basically any. Okay, I'll name a guy who everyone shits on because he loses damn near all these fights. What about George Kambosos Jr.? Right? I mean, yeah, he's not this great talented fighter, but I mean, on his way up, he fought Mickey Bay, former world champion, Lee Selby, former world champion, fought Teofimo Lopez, fought Devin Haney 2 times, fought Hitchens, fought Lomachenko. I mean, fought Maxie Hughes, who's a good fighter. Like, sure, he lost the majority of those fights. And we know George Kambosos Jr. wasn't no pound-for-pound top-level fighter. But if we're just talking about who you fought, that's a guy that comes to mind. He fought a lot of guys. Look at a guy like I just mentioned him today on Twitter. Look at my boy Kenshiro Taraji, right? The giant in and around his weight class is Bam Rodriguez, right? And Bam's a great fighter. But I've said this many times. The guys that Bam probably should be fighting, they make Kenshiro fight those guys. Anthony Olascawaga, Ricardo Sandoval. Now, supposedly, Kenshiro was ordered to fight in an IBF eliminator against the South African dude. He turned it down. Now he's gonna go try to run down on Tomoya Suboi. Tomoya Suboi is probably the best or one of the best technical fighters in and around this weight class. He's like the Japanese Lomachenko in terms of how they're trying to move him because he was the gold medalist in the AIBA championships. He just fought the corpse of Carlos Cuadras and made him retire. And that's really a fight. Like you guys saw me make a video. I made a video about it a while ago. I said, look, if boxing didn't have politics and it was really just about the best fighting the best, we'd be getting like Bam versus Suboi, Bam versus Ibuki. But like they don't that's not in the plan because Bam is a guy who's got money invested in him by Eddie Hearn, Mr. Honda, and they're gonna keep putting him in there with guys who have names, who have commercial value, to make him look good. And they're doing that, and to his credit, he's doing what he needs to do. So you know that's all you can do as a fighter is beat the guys they put in front of you. But as a fan, I just know what's going on. Not even as a fan, as someone who really just like lives and breathes this sport, I know what's going on. When do you think Canelo's best years were? His best years were honestly the 168 years when he fought like Billy. Like to me, his peak was his best, like the best version of Canelo that's ever existed was the one that fought Billy Joe Saunders. You know, when he was, you know, really when his reflexes were very sharp, his experience was at a high level, when his confidence was at an all-time high. That Canelo. Moody's Gamble said Elijah Pierce is most likely fighting Rafa next. I think he's highly ranked and come forward fighter, exciting and very beatable. Sounds like the fight that happened to me if he wins next. I don't think so. I don't think Rafael fights him. I actually think that that Elijah Pierce is an extremely dangerous fight for Rafael Espinoza. In fact, I'm gonna say this: if Pierce wins that fight, I think Zambia Promotions makes Espinoza vacate the title. That's what I believe. And I'm gonna tell you guys why. It's not even like out of hate. It's not out of like conspiracy. I have a reason to think this. So if you guys think I'm gonna tell you guys something, and I'm gonna give you guys a homework assignment because you guys think I'm so smart I can just make shit up off the top of my head. Rafael Espinoza in 2021 had a fight against a Mexican journeyman named Carlos Ornelas. You guys may know that name because Carlos Ornelas was an opponent for Abdullah Mason, and he's like 26-5 or something like that. He has 5 losses. Of those 5 losses, 4 of them were by stoppage. The only one that never stopped him was Rafael Espinoza. And the fight was a 10-rounder. It went the full distance. Now, you don't got to watch the whole fight. Just go watch the first round. That's all you got to do. Watch the first half of the first round. Ornelas is not a noted puncher like that, but he's a southpaw. He dropped Espinoza. He took a step to his left, and he shot a left hand on the middle, and he landed, and he buckled Espinoza's knee, and it touched the canvas, and he was dropped, right? And Zambia Promotions, I feel like they know about that fight. You guys may not know about that fight, and you guys might be fooled by Arnold K. Guy, but they know that fight, and they were there. They promoted that fight, and they know that Elijah Pierce can really, really punch like that. And one thing about Elijah Pierce is do I think he's as skilled as Bruce Carrington? No, I don't. Do I think he's as skilled as Angelo Leo? No, I don't. Do I think, he's the kind of volume puncher even a guy like Brandon Figueroa is? No. But one thing about Pierce is he can really punch. And Pierce is one of these guys that when he gets hurt, that's when he's more dangerous. You go watch his fights, Pierce fights his best when he's hurt. So if Espinoza hurts him, that might be worse for him if he fights Elijah Pierce. I think it's too dangerous. I think there's not enough money in it. There's not enough benefit in it. If he becomes mandatory and he can't make any fights happen with the other champions for whatever the case may be, I see him dropping that belt. And I see, if you look at the landscape of the 130-pound division, look at all the Mexican fighters up there. You got Vaquero fighting Sugar Nunez. I can see him fighting the winner of that fight. You got Venado Lopez, who, by the way, I gotta make this very clear. He is not a featherweight. I saw Ring Magazine put him in the featherweight rankings. I keep seeing people talk about him fighting guys in the featherweight division. He's not a featherweight. His last 2 fights, because he's had 2 fights since Angelo, have not even been at featherweight. They've been at like 130 and like 135. So that being said, I think that's a fight that, Espinoza Venado, Espinoza Sugar Nunez, Espinoza Navarrete. If Elijah Pierce becomes mandatory and they can't get these unification fights done, I think that's the line of thinking. So, that's where I stand. If if Pierce beats Lorenzo Parra next week, then then yes, he's a mandatory because it's a final elimination fight. So yes, he's gonna be the mandatory, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he's getting the fight right away because when you become a mandatory challenger, there's a certain period of time the champion can go, negotiate fights. You have a time frame. So I know every sanctioning body is different, but I know for the IBF it's 9 months, right? I can see it a mile away. I can see the move a mile away. Elijah Pierce becomes a mandatory challenger, right? If he beats Parra. Espinoza, I think, will have pressure on him to make a fight with one of the champions. But you know what? Maybe they don't even explore that. Because you got to remember, Zanford Promotions, they're very shrewd businessmen. Like, as much as I hate how they move as a boxing fan, I can compartmentalize and separate that as, someone who understands the fight game and the fight industry. They're very good at milking and maximizing their champions' earning potential and their title runs, right? And if you're looking at it from that standpoint, unless they're fighting like an Inoue, fighting Bruce Carrington, or even Angelo, or even, Brandon Figueroa, it doesn't do that. Navarrete, Sugar Nunez, and even Venado, those fights in Mexico do numbers. Like, so I think they're going to take that approach. That's why I'm saying if Pierce becomes mandatory, they're going to look to move up. And on top of that, he's big. He's big for featherweight. So I'm just saying. Now, if Rafa stays at 26 and he decides to fight, your Leos and your Carrington and your Figueroas, then fair play to him. He's behaving like a champion should behave. But I don't see it going that way. That's true. Elijah Pierce is hardly known, and people's champion is Rafa. He gets dropped, he might lose stock in him, might be too risky for his promotion. I'm telling you right now. I mean, I've had Elijah Pierce on this channel a couple of times. I like Elijah Pierce as a person. As a fighter, he's very flawed. Like, he's very flawed. He's lost a couple of times in his career, right? He's lost to Suleiman Sagawa. He's lost to, fighting at higher weight classes, right? But if we're talking about Elijah Pierce at featherweight, what he doesn't have in, like, top tier boxing skills, counter punching skills, any of those things, I'm telling you, he makes up for it with his power, and I would say his best thing is actually his will to win. Like, he says shit in these interviews, and to me and to other people that sounds delusional, but he really believes this, and that's a very dangerous thing. So my thing is, I've seen Rafa get hurt by guys that don't even punch close to as hard as Elijah Pierce, who are southpaws, and he ain't the kind of guy you want to get hurt by. Just being honest. Flawed fighter, yes. Beatable fighter, yes. But not a guy you can really afford to be hurt by. What do you think about Tank Fury at this point, and do you think he should move to 140? I don't. To be honest with you, I don't think about his career because there's not really much news to talk about. I don't think they want to go to 140. He's never really shown that kind of ambition to want to do that. So, I don't have much to say about his career because it's not really nice. And right now, there's not a lot of Tank news. It's just news about him being in jail and stuff like that. So I don't like talking about those kind of things. I'm a boxing channel. I'm not TMZ. I'm not, them channels. Bro, BT, why are you dodging Inoue's best signature win? You got knocked down by Walters. You can look it up. You're talking about Donaire? That's cool. Walters was a featherweight. Donaire was not a great featherweight. So if you're going to judge him off of at featherweight, that's cool. All right, well, let's just say it's not Donaire. He beat prime Stephen Fulton. Stephen Fulton, people want to shit on him now because Stephen Fulton lost to Oshaki Foster because he spent his training camp at the Poppy's corner store eating cheesesteaks and wasn't prepared for the fight. But everyone who's honest with themselves knows that wasn't like Stephen Fulton. Like he wasn't really in the mental headspace to compete. Like, I don't know what the hell was going on in his life. Doesn't really matter because he didn't show up to win. But that wasn't Stephen Fulton. So he lost. But at the time Inoue fought him, he fought Stephen Fulton, who when he was undefeated, when his confidence was an all-time high. That was Stephen Fulton when he was, like, you could say at that point, a fringe pound-for-pound guy. Honestly, when they fought, I had Stephen Fulton on my top 10 because there was dudes on the top 10 that I thought he had done more than in their career at that point. Do you think Hiroka's team swapped to American time early due to? I think they're putting Andy Hiroka at a big disadvantage with him getting here late. It's when you fight internationally and like I've been to multiple countries. I've been to England, been to Nicaragua, been to Japan multiple times, been around fighters when they have to adjust to time. The biggest thing for a fighter to overcome when they fight internationally is time, is the time zone and the culture and those kind of things. And like to be in a fight of this magnitude against someone as good as Gary Anton Russell, him, and you're getting here the week of the fight, I think it's retarded. I think it's dumb. I think it's very, very dumb on their part, and they're really putting Andy Hiroka at a very big disadvantage, and it makes me feel like they don't really care about Andy. My man Ace Money says, I know people have personal issues, but his world got crushed losing it in a way like he couldn't move past it. No, I mean, just from the outside looking in, because after he lost to Inoue, listen, Stephen Fone was living life. He was in Miami. He was on boats. He was doing all this. Like he was having fun. He was enjoying the fruits of his labor as you should. But I feel like he enjoyed it a little too much, and he felt like what it was like to lose, and get embarrassed in front of the world, right, in a one-sided fight, and and on top of that, things that he had noted about his family and things that like his mom said when he lost the fight, that got to him as well. So he never reached the levels he was at before the Inoue loss. He hasn't touched those levels since. Yes, credit to him. He did become champion again against Brandon Figueroa, and that's aged well because look, Figueroa's become champion again. But it's still not the Stephen Fulton from back then. So like, Inoue's be some great fighters. You guys don't want to accept that some Japanese dude who turned pro as a light flyweight and has scaled all these weight classes is one of the best fighters in the world. For some reason, that makes people feel uncomfortable because they feel like, and I'll just call a spade a spade, they feel like the best fighter in the world should be a Mexican or a Mexican American or a black fighter. And, he's right there. You got to at least consider the fact that he might be the best fighter in the world, even if you don't want to, because we're talking about what? 25 or whatever it is, 25, 27 championship level fights in a row. Like, and he's fighting the best available guys in and around him, If you're saying he's not a great fighter, you just hate boxing. Like you don't really respect the sport. Like it gets to a point where certain fighters prove themselves. You gotta respect them. Like I can't stand Canelo Alvarez. Like I had a period of my life where I could not stand Canelo Alvarez. But I mean, he fought. Yeah, there are some guys he avoided, like Dave Benavidez, Demetrius Andrade, but he still fought some good fighters too. Afro Jam says Andy Hiroka didn't help himself. At least have some stay busy fights, some like some Corkin Hall bums. Well, when you get in the top 15, that's kind of hard to do. It's not easy to get those kind of guys to agree to fight you because you're at that level. I really believe it to the core of my bones that the powers that be behind him, they don't really care for him. Because how do you reconcile Jin Sasaki, who got knocked the fuck out by Andy, right, who lost to him already? How do you reconcile him getting a world title shot on home soil against Brian Norman Jr., but then Andy can't even get to the States in time at at a punctual time to get used to America and the time zone? And that's very rare because one thing I can tell you guys about Japanese culture from spending 4.5 months combined of my life there over the last 3 years is that punctuality is of the utmost importance, So it's like it's very un-Japanese like to not be on time. Bro, he has a good resume, but his resume ain't better than Crawford or Mama. I mean, I don't know, man. I think Nonito Donaire is better than Jeff Horn and Julius Ndongo. What do you think? I mean, don't even start with Spence. Like, don't even get me started on Spence. Like that's one of the easiest fights to pick of all time. I picked that fight to the very round. Earl Spence, in my opinion, even though he may have had like three of the titles at that time, I don't even think he was one of the top 2 best welterweights in the world when they fought. And I was saying that before Carr beat him up. Because Earl, we all know about the car crash, the car crash and all that stuff, and like it wasn't the same Spence, Earl has a great resume. I give him that. He fought. That's the guy that has a great resume. You want to talk about resumes? Like that dude went to England and beat up Kell Brook. Yeah, it was after the Golovkin fight, but Kell Brook agreed to fight and defend his belt. So beat up Kell Brook. You know, he has a good resume. He beat Sean Porter when Sean Porter was like really up there, not on the way out. Checked out of boxing. Like I used to believe, like what's crazy is like time does reveal things overall. Because I feel like the truth in boxing, a lot of narratives are sold to the boxing fans and the public. Um, was Terrence Crawford such a great fighter that fighters did duck and avoid him? Definitely, 1,000%. That's true for sure. But I also think Crawford reached a stage where, you know, he wasn't necessarily as bothered as he made it out to be in the public that guys weren't fighting him. Because why? Because Top Rank, the same company that he tried to sue for being racist towards him, was paying him $5.5 million to fight washed up Amir Khan in the Garden, and then followed it up by giving another $4 million to fight Kavaluskas. So it's like he was comfortable making that money fighting guys that didn't have really a chance. And can I blame him? No, I can't blame him because at the end of the day, the boxing game is a short window to make money. But at the same time, like, you can't have your cake and eat it too. What about Yi Jun Kim and 37-year-old Dehaney? The Dehaney fight was pathetic. I spoke out against it. I got videos about that fight criticizing it. Yi Jun Kim, that's not a great opponent, but that wasn't his fault. Inoue was scheduled to fight Sam Goodman 2 times, and I was in Japan both times when this shit happened. He was supposed to fight Sam Goodman on Christmas of 2024. Goodman pulled out. He pulled out multiple times, and they were supposed to fight in January. He pulled out of that fight as well because of a cut. So Yi Jun Kim was a replacement opponent. So as much as I want to hold it against him, I really can't because he was scheduled to fight one of the top contenders of the division. And that guy kept pulling out of the damn fight over and over again. Could they have gotten a better replacement opponent? Yes, but it's not easy to find, the best guy, the top 5 guy in the division on, a couple weeks' notice. Nah, that's not the reason. He trusted in Top Rank's vision for him, which was bad looking back. I don't think it was bad looking back. How was it bad looking back? Terrence Crawford was put in front of guys who he knocked out, and he maintained a 100% knockout ratio throughout the duration of his whole entire welterweight run. And that contributed to his greatness, whether you like it or not. So I don't think it was bad, to be honest with you. I'm just saying, like, when I was younger, I guess more naive, and I didn't really understand. Like, I didn't understand then what I understand now about boxing, because, being around multiple top-level fighters and then having conversations with some of the top matchmakers out there and promoters out there and just being exposed to a lot of things behind the scenes, like, you come to realize, like, not everything that glitters is gold in boxing, and many things aren't what they seem to be. So, like, at the time, Crawford was being promoted as a guy that nobody wanted to fight, which I do think certain guys from PBC didn't want to fight him. But at the same time, it's like, bro, you fought Amir Khan for $5.5 million at the Garden. Like, you weren't getting, like, you're not Marvin Hagler. You're not Marvin Hagler making $60 fighting in a fucking basketball gymnasium in Massachusetts. No, like, you're getting paid $5.5 million to fight a shot to pieces Amir Khan with pay-per-view upside at Madison Square Garden in the big room. Like, you're not Marvin Hagler. Let me see. I hope Inoue and Bam fight before Inoue hangs up the gloves. I'm good on that one, champ. That fight's corny. Canelo Fundora is going to fight Spence if both of them win the next fight. I hope not. I mean, but that's not surprising because that was a fight that PBC was trying to make back in, was it 2024, when Fundora beat Zoo the first time. They had Spence in the ring. They were trying to make it, but Earl Spence. Like, I know Earl Spence is coming back to fight Tim Tszyu, and people are happy about it, but really and truthfully, I don't think Earl Spence really wants to fight. I don't think his heart's really in it. BT rant about that people, about pushing. What are you talking about? Can you clarify what you're talking about, Kyoto? By the way, shout out to everybody here. I've been rambling for like an hour and a half straight. We here on True School Sports, back in Vegas, doing our thing, getting ready for the real part of the year to really pop off. So Inoue versus Bam. They want Inoue to lose to an American so bad. They would rather see that garbage than featherweight. It's so sad. It's just so forced. Like, man, like, and I'm mad at Ring Magazine for doing a whole cover story about it because it's like, bro, Inoue, Bam, Junto, they are all controlled by the same person. All right, and I hate talking about this because you guys feel like I'm hating on the guy. I'm not hating. I'm telling you the truth. Mr. Honda doesn't like his guys fighting each other. It's a tale as old as time in boxing, and they're not gonna do Inoue versus Bam just because. Like, I wish people would just give it a rest. If Earl don't want to fight, why do you think he's come back if he doesn't need the money? Pride. Just nothing more than pride. Who is saying bad things about... Yo, chill. Yeah. Inoue versus BT. Mr. Honda already hates your guts. You guys trying to get you guys trying to get an L hung on Inoue's record for real? That's listen. If there was a fight that you don't need to make for Inoue, that's the one right there. Inoue versus BT. You don't need to make that fight. You know. That's not what you want, champ. Listen, man. I wish you guys out there would just listen to me, but I know you guys won't because you guys think I'm just hating on your favorite fighter. But I've been around this shit, like Japanese boxing, the top managers in around it. You know, I've met Mr. Honda in real life. Like, not many people can say that. Inoue is not ducking Bam. Bam is not ducking Junto. Junto is not ducking Bam. No one is ducking each other. Like, this is actually one of the rare times I'm gonna say that, like, none of the fighters are actually ducking each other. Okay, because the way everything is structured is Mr. Honda will let him fight, and if he does let him fight, it's gotta make like insane financial sense, cause he doesn't think like an American promoter. That's like when you talk about this shit, you gotta get your American thinking out of your brain. He's not thinking like Bob Arum. He's not thinking like Al or Oscar, right? He views these guys, Tekken Promotions, as his family. And he don't want his family members fighting each other. Why do you think back in the day, one of my favorite fighters from Japan, one of the fighters from Japan that got me into Japanese boxing, Shinsuke Yamanaka, there were certain fights he never took for that same reason, you know? And that continues to be the tale. So, I mean, I'm going to keep, anytime you guys bring up like Inoue or Junto versus Bam, I'm going to keep telling you guys until I feel like you guys are getting it, because people aren't getting it. And, you know, you guys, like, before, like, Robert Garcia himself has come out and confirmed what I'm saying to be true. He said, yeah, we were willing to fight Junto, but Mr. Honda said no. Rudy Hernandez told you guys the same thing, and you guys still insist that no. They're ducking each other. They can't duck each other because the guy that's in charge of both their careers won't let them actually fight each other. Who's saying bad things about Naoya Inoue? Naoya Inoue is the best fighter. I mean, he's up there. I mean, it's either him or Usyk right now, as far as what they've accomplished. Do I think Bam Rodriguez is a more complete fighter than Naoya Inoue? It's a great question. I think they both got some major flaws. Like, I think they both do. They're both very good. It's actually a hell of a question. I never really thought about that question, to be honest with you. Who's more complete, Inoue or Bam? Because I feel like Inoue showed you guys how complete he was last year. Like, he had 4 fights. First 2 fights of the year, he knocked guys out. Second 2 fights, he flipped the style on you and then outboxed people. Would be outboxing top contenders easy, right? So I haven't seen Bam show that level of versatility. Like, Bam is good. I give it to Bam. Bam is very good. He's one of the top guys out there. But I mean, Inoue's body of work, and he's showing more versatility. So I mean, Bam ain't far behind him, but I got Inoue right now. I need to see Bam in a fight against a young guy, like, truly top guy. That's why I want to see him against Junto, because that's the kind of fight where I'm gonna learn. Okay, I know Bam is great. How great is Bam, right? I see Inoue going there with Stephen Fulton and do what he did, you know? And one aspect of boxing, who plays offense defense at the same time? What do you think of Shakur saying he's more unbeatable than Inoue? I actually agree with that. Like I'm a much like I prefer Inoue more. I prefer Inoue style more. I think Inoue is more entertaining to watch. I enjoy talking about Inoue in these videos a lot more than Shakur, to be honest with you. But I'm not biased. Like I think it is harder to break what Shakur Stevenson does in the ring than Inoue, because Shakur, thing about Shakur Stevenson, and it's one of the reasons why some of his fights are boring as hell to watch, is that he's not gonna fight outside of himself if he doesn't have to. So, you want a big counter shots. It's not gonna be there. You gotta make him give that to you. He's not gonna just give that to you for free. As to where with Inoue is an apex predator. He's on the front foot. He's trying to be explosive and counter punch you for the mid range. You're gonna get your chances to really, you know, hurt Inoue. And for that reason, I agree with him. Shakur Stevenson is very good in this style. You don't gotta like his style. You don't gotta think that he's beat better fighters in a way, or that he's more accomplished. But if you're asking me, like if I got a game plan for a fight to beat a fighter, that's a harder fighter to beat. Because if you say like, okay, BT, just be a volume puncher. Well, he fought one of the best volume punchers, William Zepeda, and sure, William Zepeda was able to win some rounds and make Shakur uncomfortable in parts of that fight. But Shakur had answers. You understand? He had answers in that fight. And then we know if you don't press Shakur, when he just circles the ring and does what he normally does, it might not be exciting. He might land 65 punches the whole fight, but he gonna beat you. My man Ace Money said, I agree with your answer completely, but I weirdly enjoy Shakur's pure boxing style, even though a few of his top 5 performances were not appealing. I like Shakur when he's a little more aggressive. Like I really enjoyed his fight against Williams Peta. I enjoyed the Tiafimo fight. I enjoy most of his fights, but I hate like when he fights like guys like when he fought De Los Santos, when he fought even worse Jeremiah Nakatilia, and he was running from Jeremiah Nakatilia. He didn't want no smoke with the African Cup. He was doing all this at the press conference, and then he didn't really like stand on business the way he was supposed to. But he won, so credit to him. You go in there, you win. It's the name of the game. That's what I'm saying. Like Inoue, one of the reasons why Inoue is more popular than a guy like Shakur, and why he's more fun to watch, is because he's more vulnerable. Vulnerability in boxing oftentimes equals excitement. So if a guy is, why do you think Arturo Gatti was so fun to watch? Because he was vulnerable. My man says, random question: do you think the best version of Ring It Out beats Inoue at 122? A skilled amateur boxer kind of puncher with the big power in his left hand. I think it'd be a very good fight. I think Ring It Out would win. Definitely win. He would win rounds off Inoue. Like he's banking at least. He's minimum banking 3 rounds off Inoue. But I think if they fought, what would be his undoing is his lack of volume, and his punch selection is not very wide. Like when you talk Ring It Out, you're talking about really a guy. He's got a very similar punch selection to a guy like Adonis Stevenson. Remember Adonis Stevenson was very left-hand dominant out the southpaw stance. Everything he does is to set up his big left hand. I think Inoue will pick up on that after a couple rounds and eventually, have his way. And on top of that too, Rigondeaux wasn't like the most durable guy either, because he fought when he fought Ricardo Cordoba, he was winning that fight easy. Got caught and got hurt. So I think even durability plays a factor in that fight. I think Inoue wins I actually think that fight would be exciting, because both of them are very vulnerable. It's just I think Inoue's offensive skill set is deeper, it's more versatile, and that's the difference in that fight. But guys, look, I think on that note, I'm gonna wrap it up, because for some reason my throat's a little sore. I don't know why, but listen, I don't know when I'll be live again. But we are here in Vegas, so I'll be at the press conference and the weigh-in for Ryan Garcia Barrios, because it's open to the public. These people, they trying to box your boy BT out. Even though I have 90,000 subscribers, 61 million views on YouTube, they trying to box me out. They trying to freeze me out the game. You know, so I'll go to the Fat Week stuff, and if I'm there fight night, whether I'm there or not, I'm not tripping about it. You know, we got bigger fish to fry, to use Virgil Ortiz's words, and yeah, I'm ready for camp to get started, and that's what it'll be. So they expect a lot of great things, guys. They expect a lot of great interviews on this time that I'm on the road, and yeah, just keep supporting the channel. Have a great week. Have a great rest of your night, and see you next time.